Nothing is more secure than letting go. Strange, isn't it? We spend our lives tightening our grip on our plans, our identities, our loves, our fears, believing that if only we hold tightly enough, we'll finally be safe. Yet everything we cling to eventually slips through our fingers, like sand, like breath, like time itself. And in that moment of loss, if we're quiet enough, we might notice something astonishing, that the falling, the releasing, the emptying feels more peaceful than the holding ever did. You see, the great secret of life is that it was never yours to control in the first place. You never held the wheel. You were always the wave pretending to steer the ocean. And that's why letting go is not defeat. It is remembrance. It's the moment the wave remembers it is the sea. We are taught from the beginning that to be human is to manage life, to plan, to defend, to achieve. Yet beneath all of that, there's a trembling, a quiet anxiety that maybe the universe is too vast to be tamed, that maybe no matter how carefully we build our walls, they'll never be strong enough to stop the wind. And so we spend years fortifying ourselves, gathering possessions, beliefs, relationships, and goals like sandbags against the flood of uncertainty. But still, the tide comes in. The roof leaks, the body ages, the people change, and we begin to realize that our fortress of control is built upon shifting ground. The tragedy, of course, is that we mistake this constant change for danger. We forget that impermanence isn't the enemy, it's the very pulse of life. Everything that ever brought you joy came from change. A sunrise breaking the dark, a melody moving from silence, a stranger becoming a friend. Without change, there would be no song, no laughter, no love. And yet, how we fear it. We hold on to the past because we think it defines us. We cling to the future because we think it will save us. But the truth is, both are dreams, shimmering mirages on the desert of time. The moment you reach for them, they vanish, leaving only this eternal fleeting now. And here's the miracle. When you stop grasping at what was or what will be, the now reveals itself not as a knife edge to balance on, but as an endless ocean, calm, boundless, alive. Letting go isn't losing your footing. It's realizing there was never ground beneath you to begin with. And that's precisely why you can never fall. You see, life has been letting go of itself all along. Trees drop their leaves. Rivers surrender to the sea. Even the stars, magnificent in their burning, release themselves into the dark. Everything is an act of surrender. Everything is a gesture of trust. But we humans, clever creatures that we are, have learned to mistrust the very rhythm that sustains us. We insist on swimming upstream against the current of being, and then we wonder why we are so exhausted. We mistake control for strength, but control is fragile. It demands constant vigilance, constant maintenance. It's a clenched fist. Strength, real strength, is the open hand, the one that holds nothing and therefore cannot be broken. So letting go isn't a weakness. It's the highest kind of confidence. It's the knowing that the river knows its own way home. When you let go, you don't disappear. You return to flow, to movement, to the great unnameable dance that was happening long before you appeared and will continue long after you dissolve. And in that dance, security is no longer something you achieve. It's something you discover in the very heart of uncertainty. You may ask, but if I let go, won't I lose everything? Won't I become nothing? Yes, and that's the freedom of it. You see, to lose everything only means to lose the illusion that you ever had it. You don't truly own your body, your thoughts, or even your heartbeat. They come and go like the seasons. You never command them. You witness them. You don't breathe. Breathing happens. You don't think. Thoughts arise. You don't live life. Life lives you. And once that becomes clear, even faintly, a great weight lifts from your shoulders. The world softens. You stop trying to figure it out and begin to marvel at it. You laugh more easily because you realize the cosmic joke, that the whole time, you were trying to carry what was carrying you. The tighter you hold, the more it hurts. The looser your hand, the lighter your heart. Have you ever noticed how love works that way too? The more you try to possess someone, the more distant they feel. But when you let them be, when you allow love to breathe, it expands beyond measure. The same is true of life. When you release your need to control it, it blossoms in ways you could never have planned. Letting go is not indifference, it's intimacy. It's the realization that the river flows through you, not around you. That every rise and fall, every joy and sorrow, every birth and death is your own pulse mirrored in the heartbeat of existence. And that's why you can trust it. Because the one who fears letting go is the same one who was never truly here. The self that clings is like a shadow clutching at the body. It wants to be real, to be safe, to last. But shadows only exist because of light. They vanish the moment they turn toward it. The moment you look closely for this self you're trying to protect, this thinker of thoughts, this controller of life, it disappears like mist. What remains is not emptiness, but freedom. Not absence, but presence. You begin to sense that the universe isn't out there. It's right here as this breath, this sound, this flicker of awareness that sees without effort. And that's when everything changes. Not because the world becomes different, but because you do. You stop fighting the rain. You stop fearing the dark. You stop chasing meaning as though it were hiding somewhere else. You realize the meaning was always the looking itself. Letting go, then, is not a practice. It's not something you do. It's what happens when you stop doing, when you stop trying to make life fit your idea of what it should be and allow it to show you what it already is. When you surrender, life doesn't fall apart. It falls into place. So what is it, then, that keeps us from trusting this effortless unfolding? Fear. Fear of uncertainty, fear of loss, fear of being no one. But if you look carefully, fear itself is only a trembling of imagination, a movie projected onto the screen of now. You fear the unknown because you think it's separate from you. But it isn't. The unknown is your very nature. You were born out of it, you live within it, and one day you will return to it. Just as a wave returns to the sea, not as a punishment, but as fulfillment. Have you ever watched a leaf drifting down a stream? It doesn't panic about where it's going. It doesn't demand that the water slow down or change direction. It moves with the flow, sometimes swiftly, sometimes caught in an eddy, sometimes spinning in circles, yet always moving, always carried. That leaf isn't less alive than you. It's simply at peace with the current. And perhaps the only real difference between a peaceful life and a painful one is the difference between resisting and floating. You see, fear isn't a sign that something is wrong. It's a signal that you're standing at the edge of expansion, that you're brushing up against the boundaries of your imagined self. Fear always whispers the same thing: don't let go. You'll die. But life whispers back, let go, and you'll finally live. The irony is delicious, isn't it? The ego, that precious bundle of memories and expectations you call me, is terrified of death. But it dies 1,000 times every day. Every breath out is a small surrender. Every night you fall asleep, you disappear, and yet somehow you awaken again. If you truly died each night, who is it that wakes in the morning? What continuity do you believe in? You see, life renews itself constantly. You are reborn every moment, but only if you allow it. Letting go is dying before you die. And in that dying, you discover immortality. Not the immortality of the body or name, but of the ever-present awareness that watches them both come and go. The witness that never began and will never end. So letting go is not an act of giving up. It's an act of remembering. You remember that you are the space in which everything appears, not the things that appear within it. You remember that clouds do not disturb the sky. They are the sky in motion. And you, this ever-changing constellation of sensations, stories, and dreams, are not separate from the whole. You are the whole, pretending for a while to be apart. To realize this is to laugh with the universe, because suddenly the game makes sense. The dance is not about reaching a destination. It's about the joy of movement itself. And once you see that, you begin to live differently. You don't withdraw from life. You fall into it, completely. You love without demand. You work without anxiety. You rest without guilt. Because now you understand. Everything is already happening perfectly, without your interference. Even your attempts to control were part of the flow. Even your resistance was the universe expressing itself as tension. You were never off track. You were simply playing your role in the great play of forgetting and remembering. And the instant you let go of trying to get it right, you realize it always was. Now, imagine for a moment that you're standing by the ocean. The waves are rising and falling endlessly. You try to grasp one, to make it stay, to freeze its beauty, its shape. But the moment you close your hand, it's gone. You can't hold a wave, but you can feel it, ride it, become it. That's letting go. That's living. When you stop trying to possess life, you begin to participate in it. You become the rhythm instead of the dancer. You become the song instead of the singer. You no longer need to have life, because you realize you are life. And in that realization, all the tension dissolves. The future no longer frightens you, because it's no longer out there. It's simply another face of the now. The past no longer chains you, because it too was only now, once upon a time. You begin to see that security isn't in what can be held, but in what cannot be lost. And what cannot be lost? This awareness, this moment, this silent presence that witnesses the coming and going of everything, unchanged, untouched, unafraid. It's here when the breath comes in, and here when it leaves. It's here when you laugh, when you cry, when you wake, when you sleep. It's the still point in the turning world, the eye of the storm that was never disturbed. When you let go, you don't drift into chaos. You fall into this, into being, into the unshakable peace of the present. You see, letting go isn't something you learn. It's something you remember again and again, until remembering becomes natural. Like the tide forgetting itself for a while as waves, and then returning home. So when life takes something from you, a plan, a person, a certainty, let it. Grieve, yes, feel it fully, but know this. Nothing real can be taken. Only the form changes, the love, the energy, the essence. It remains, it transforms, it dances on. And when the time comes to release even your own story, you'll see that it too was a beautiful illusion, a dream the universe dreamed for a while. Then perhaps you'll smile, because you'll realize that what you truly are was never born and can never die. That you have been letting go all along, every breath, every blink, every heartbeat. That even the act of clinging was a kind of letting go, disguised. And so nothing is more secure than letting go. Because in that surrender, you stop opposing life. You fall in love with it. You rest as the ocean that holds all waves. You breathe as the wind that moves through all forms. You awaken as the awareness that needs nothing, fears nothing, clings to nothing, because it is everything. So, my friend, there's nothing you must do. Just watch, as life dances itself through you. Laugh when it's funny, cry when it's tender, and trust the rhythm beneath it all. For even now, as you listen, as you breathe, life is letting go through you. And that letting go is love itself. Silence. The breath goes out, and in the vast stillness that remains, nothing is missing.